Well, I hope you enjoyed that spin around the country lanes of Ireland. If you would like to see some more, drop me a line and I'll certainly take the car out again and show you some more interesting locations where I live. Okay, back to the build. As you can see, I've fitted the fascia on the car and lined up the bonnet. Fascia does give a lot of problems, as we all know. The rear trailing edge can peel up. We all know about the Roger Moore eyebrows. These can all be easy enough rectified if you have the time and patience to give it a go. With the alignment on the fascia, DeLorean has given a huge amount of adjustability on their panels, more than any other car I know. So the adjustment on DeLoreans is like the gift that keeps on giving and giving and giving and giving. And what I mean by that is be careful when you adjust, because it kind of knocks the other panels out. So you could spend a number of hours lining your panels. So just be careful. The alignment on the front fascia goes like this. Remove your headlamps. Remove your headlamp buckets. Your headlamp buckets are marked as L1, L2, right 2 or R2 and R1. Okay? So you like to get them mixed up. Go ahead and remove them. The little spring in the bottom retains the bucket. Pop the spring, you'll be able to take that bucket out and set it down on the floor. The bracket that the buckets mount to, they're also marked as a right hand and left hand. So they're easy enough identified. The trick to taking the brackets out, remove the screws that adjust the headlamps. And that will allow you then to undo the top self-tapping screw here and the two 10mm nuts either side of the mounting bracket. You can roll the bracket on the side and draw it out. That then exposes the bolts for the height adjustment on your bonnet, and it exposes the bolts all the way along for the adjustment on the trailing edge of your fascia. While you have the headlamps out and you want to tackle those eyebrows, it's quite simple to do also. What you do is you get yourself a heat gun, bring the face of the fascia up to a temperature where you can just barely touch it. Don't go too far, you'll of course bubble the paint. And with a bucket of water and a sponge handy, push the leading edge of your eyebrow down past the horizontal 1 inch or thereabouts, about here, and then flash cool it with your sponge and cold water. Everything that's molded has a memory, and in this case the molecules, once they're heated, they get excited and they move around. When it cools, they freeze in that particular location. So basically what you're doing is you're softening up those molecules again, pushing your eyebrow down past the horizontal, and then flash cooling again with your sponge. You'll do that a couple of times. Once you've that done, to retain that straight edge, if you put your hand underneath or behind the lamp, you'll feel a little rib, like a little shelf. What I do is, I take this here, which is a wall tie, and I insert it here underneath that little lip. If you put your hand underneath, you'll feel it. It actually slots in, and I'll use a bonding agent and pop it under there, clamp it together and leave it overnight, and that will help retain your leading edge. Of course, this is caused by heat coming off your headlamp. It makes the leading edge bow up. Alright, so straightforward enough. And then reassemble in the normal way. So that's the fascia on, and bonnet temporarily aligned, so I'm quite happy with that. Other jobs done this week. I rebuilt the clutch master cylinder. If you're looking for a kit to rebuild the master cylinder, it's quite difficult. In fact, I searched and searched and searched through all the Girling and Lockheed catalogs, and it's virtually impossible to find. So the next step is to find the part number on the actual main seal. Coiling didn't make rubber seals. They purchased them in and assembled their hydraulics from there. And they purchased the seal from Dunlop. So if you remove the seal off your clutch master cylinder and you get a magnifying glass, you'll see the part number on the actual seal, and you will be able to order that up. In fact, I have the part number here if I can locate it. Bear with me. And here it is. So the Coiling part number, get that. The Coiling part number for the seal is 646738898. And I'll repeat that. The Coiling part number for the main seal in your clutch master cylinder is 646738898. Okay? When you're rebuilding your clutch master cylinder, do an inspection of the bore, of course, make sure there's no pitting. Give your master cylinder a good hone. The little rubber seal at the very end is just really a valve. It doesn't take any wear. Give it a good wash out. It should be okay, and that should get you back on your road again with your clutch. Another subject I want to touch on is the finish on the stainless steel of the cars. This is the original flappy wheel that I've had for a long time. If you have a DeLorean and you don't have one of these, I certainly recommend picking one up. They're fabulous. If this one wore a bra and pants, I'd actually ask it to marry me. They're that good to have around when you own a DeLorean. There are quite a few companies out there that can supply them. I picked this one up on the web. It's an American company. They delivered it to me FedEx in 4 days, and it cost me $170. Okay, and the grade that I have in this is 80 grade. They also sent me for that same price an extra set of brushes. So for working up your car, don't be afraid of it. It takes care of itself. Just make sure and keep the direction going the one way, and you'll be fine. So great piece of kit, and should be in your toolkit if you have a DeLorean and intend to have it, and look in the way it came out of the factory. Okay. These are the radiator fans and coiling from the DeLorean. They're probably more responsible for the deaths of DeLoreans than any other electrical component in the car. They drew so much current that they would burn the wiring loom and the fan relay. I've updated the fan. I had a spare shroud that was damaged. I cut the center legs off the shroud and fitted a set of modern day fans. The two fans that I fitted draw double the volume of air and draw no more than the current you'd expect from a set of headlamps on the car. So I've taken them out and replaced them with these. I'll show you these now. So this is what I've put in. The old damaged shroud that I had. I purchased these 10-inch fans from the internet, and I've wired them into my car. What you're looking at here is the rear trailing arm, where it secures to the chassis of the car. That infamous bolt that shears off and sends us over the hedge or into the center divider on the freeway. It's important to replace, but also as important is these bolts. These are the bolts that secure the mount to the chassis of the car. They will break. They will strip from the encapsulated nut here. So when you replace this bolt, the main bolt that you're doing, you must replace these two bolts that secure the rubber mount. If you don't, it doesn't matter if you put a new bolt on. This will come loose and allow the new bolt to shear off. Always replace this bolt, these two bolts that secure the rubber mount to the chassis, that secures that bolt to the trailing arm. This is the problem here. This encapsulated nut cannot withstand the load imposed upon it from this bolt. It will strip, and when it strips, it allows this bushing to come loose, shearing off the main bolt. You'll be driving to work some morning in your DeLorean, you'll be hopping on the freeway, and the next thing you'll wake up with a crowd around you. So do that as a matter of course, especially in low mileage cars where it probably hasn't been checked yet. The main problem here, as I keep stressing, is the encapsulated nut that secures the bolt for the rubber mount for the rear trailing arm. Please check it and change it as a matter of course. While we're on the subject of part numbers, another part number that's important is it's part number for your emergency brake pads. DeLorean is unusual in that the application of the pad is delivered through a pair of pinchers. They pinch the pad like so. If you can imagine, this is the disc. So the problem with that is, here is where the pad touches the disc, and that is where the most pressure is exerted. Here, because of the pinching action of the pad, you don't get that connection with the disc. So what the manufacturer did was, they produced a pad that was profiled, that had an angle to it. If you don't use that pad and you use another make of pad where the profile is flat, you're going to have a very inefficient e-brake or emergency brake application. In this part of the world, we have a safety test every year, and it's very difficult to get the cars through this test because of this issue. So when you're doing your handbrake, or you have a handbrake that is very poor, remove the handbrake pans or the emergency brake pans and check the profile. And if they don't have a profile on it, it's the wrong pad that's fitted. I'll give you the part number of the correct pad, but hopefully I'm going to try and show you the differences on the profiles. So this is a TRW pad, perfectly good pad. This is a Ferodo pad, and you can see the Ferodo pad hopefully drops off to one side. It's got a different profile. This is the correct pad to allow for that pinching. This is the wrong pad, and you will have a very inefficient emergency brake. The part number on the Ferodo is FDB822. Okay, FDB822. That's the correct pad that you want to be using in your emergency system. Okay, so as you can see from behind me, the engine's basically ready to go. Next job is to wire it and install the ECU, get it on the rolling road and get it running. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a big milestone in the build. So until next time.